Hey guys! All right, so this is your Zoom tutorial. So what we're gonna start off with first is breakout rooms. So you guys should have already, before you get to this part, you need to go back through like we talked about at the meeting, go to oklahoma.zoom.us and turn on all the features you're wanting to use. So turn on breakout rooms, turn on waiting room, turn on polling. It's a good idea to just go ahead and turn them on anyways, because then you'll have them there whenever you want to use them and you don't have to worry about if it's turned on or not. So once you've turned those on, they'll all show up down here. If you guys can see my mouse, actually I'll just point down here on this little toolbar. So first is breakout rooms. You're gonna click on this little box and now it's gonna start at 1. Mine started at 5 because I messed with it already. It's gonna say create insert number here, breakout rooms. So general rule, I almost always make more than I know I'll need, just in case for some reason I end up needing an extra 1 or 2. So let's say I want 4, I'm gonna go ahead and make 5 just in case, because I kind of mentioned this before, but if you create the rooms and open them and people are in them, as far as I know, you can't add another room without closing all the rooms first and like kicking people out. So I always make more than I think I'll need just to be safe. So once you have how many rooms you want, you can either assign them automatically, which means Zoom will just take your list and put people in the rooms and go for it, or you can assign them manually, so you get to choose which rooms people go into, or now, as Sarah pointed out, there's a new option that says let participants choose a room. I haven't messed with it yet, so I don't know exactly what that means, but I can mess around with it in like a future meeting and figure it out for you all. So for now, I'm just going to click assign manually and push create. So now, as you can see, I have all my rooms here available. So this is going to be a little hard because I don't have anyone in my Zoom meeting right now. But if I wanted to assign people to room, I just go over here and click the assign button. Click that. This one right now says all participants have been assigned to breakout rooms. But normally, there would be a big list of people in this like space right here. And that would be like where your participants would be. So you would just check the little boxes next to their name if you want them to be in room 1. I can also rename it. So let's say we're in a UPB meeting and I want to call it green team. Just kidding. Yes. Okay, hold on. Rename. Green. Yes. There we go. Now it reassigned itself its name. So yeah, I can assign. Once you assign people a room, you can also reassign them a room. So if there's someone in the list and you want to move them to a different room, you would just hover over their name and it'll say reassign and you can tell them like which room to go to. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I haven't really messed around with this add room or recreate button, but I do know once I've opened the rooms, usually this button doesn't work for me anymore. So then I can open all rooms, and now they're all open. So people will get their invitations to join a room. I can broadcast a message to all, which just means that all of them, regardless of what room they're in, will see this message. And then I can also close all rooms. And then as you can see, these little options come back for me to add a room or recreate a room. So that is breakout rooms. If you guys have any additional questions on that, I know it's a little bit hard to tell since there's no participants that I can add, but just let me know and I can give you guys more information. Next, we're going to look at the waiting room. So what you'll do for this is click on the participants button. And then as you can see, it's just me chilling on my Zoom. But if you go down here, it's down here to the more button and click it, there's a bunch of different options that come up, and some of them are checked already and some are unchecked. These will be based off of your Zoom settings from oklahoma.zoom.us. But as you can see down here at the very bottom, it says enable waiting room. My box is already checked because, as you guys know, I have my waiting room on basically all the time. If I wanted to turn it off, so if you wanted people to just be able to join your meeting without having to sit in the waiting room first, you just click it and now I've disabled the waiting room. But if you want one, you'll just want to make sure that you go again to the more button, click it, and enable your waiting room. And now I've enabled it. So then as people try and join your room, their names will pop up above where like the current participants' names are, and it'll just say like admit. And you can either admit one person at a time, everyone at once, whatever you want to do there. And the options will show up at the very top of this box whenever people are waiting. Next, we're going to look at the polls a little bit more, so we'll close that. Down here, right next to the share screen button is the polling button. So I'm gonna click it. And as you see, like it was supposed to at the meeting and very rudely did not. In the middle, there's an add a question button. So if I want to add a question, obviously right now I don't have any questions, so I can't launch a poll. So I'm going to push add a question. It's going to redirect me. We're going to close this. It's going to redirect me over to oklahoma.zoom.us. And hold on, we're going to backtrack. Polling, add a question. Interesting. Meetings. Oh, here it is. Okay, here at the top, do you see where it says poll? Right next to details, it says poll right here. I'm going to click it. And then over here, I'm going to push add a poll. And now I can title it whatever I want. So I'll say, what's up? And then I can change my options. Again, I'll give it like an actual question here. And then I can keep adding options here. Perfect. If I want to add another question, I just push add question. And there's that. I can push save. And now it has saved my options. So now if we go back to Zoom, that's Spotify. If we go back to Zoom, now I can choose a poll. So this is one poll with multiple questions, but I can also add separate polls. If I just go back here, I can add another poll. I'll just type hey really fast and say save. So now I can click this little drop-down menu and go from poll 1 to poll 2. And now it'll give me poll 2. Obviously there's nothing there right now because I didn't type anything in. So we'll go back to poll 1. And then if I want people to see my poll, I push launch poll. And now it's up for people. They can vote. You can see the percentage of people who have voted, how long it's been up. These will update themselves as it goes through. And then once everyone's voted, I can end the poll. And then obviously there's no results, but I can share the results so they can see how people voted. That's pretty obvious. And then stop sharing takes it back away from them. If for some reason people can't see the poll when you relaunch it, that happens a lot. If you just go down here and if you tell them to push the polling button again, usually that'll make the results pop back up for you. Okay, yeah, that's polling. So now the last thing we're going to go through is how to set a recurring meeting. So this is not something you actually do in the meeting itself. So I'm actually going to end this. End meeting for all being just me. Okay, so now this is the main page of Zoom. So what you're going to do is go down here to the schedule button, click schedule, and then your schedule and settings have been imported. Perfect, close that. So now I'm going to choose a topic. So that'll just be UPB meetings. Date and time, obviously, let's say I want this one to be Thursday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday. Also, keep in mind, these are going by 30-minute increments. So just keep that in mind when you're scheduling things. Obviously, you can go longer than a time it says. You can go shorter than the time it says. That doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I want it to be a recurring meeting. So I'm going to click recurring meeting. And then it says, remember to check recurrence or repeat in your calendar invitation. That's because you don't actually set the recurrence in Zoom itself. You set the recurrence in whatever calendar you're having it send to you. So down here where it says calendar, you can send it to Google Calendar, iCal, Outlook. You'll set the recurrence there. But so for meeting ID, I usually just put generate automatically. You can use your personal meeting ID. See, obviously, like you can see, it says new sooner because that was my personal meeting ID I set up when I was working in NSO over the summer. But you can just do generate automatically. It'll give you its own password. I have the waiting room clicked. I could turn it off here if I wanted to. I usually just leave it on. These ones usually don't change. I can change this. I always leave it at telephone and computer audio. I don't really know the difference, so I just leave it. Obviously, I want it to go to Outlook. because that's the email that we use at OU. So obviously, and meeting purpose, it gives you all these different options, but you can also just type whatever. So I always type in like meeting or advising or whatever. It makes you have one, but that doesn't really matter. So then you just push save on here, and then it's automatically going to pull up your Outlook calendar, like invitation. The only thing is, if you want to invite someone to this, like instead of just putting it on your own personal calendar, you'll go up here at the top and click invite. And now this has popped up the to button or the to box, so you can send it to someone. Now I know Jasmine asked how you change the default email it's sending from. This is really grayed out right now. Up here, if you can see the from, but if you click it, it'll give you this whole drop down menu of who it can be from. So what I've always had to do is I just click the one that says calendar, and then it's my email address. If I've tried to send things through the Union Programming Board one, so for the calendar before, and it gives me an error message that says like you're not like the original email or whatever that's attached to it. So it won't send you responses like if people say like they're going or not going. So I always just send it from the one that says calendar dash and then my email. So you'll click that. And then you can type it to whoever. If I'm sending it to exec, I just put like 2020 and it pops up that, or I could send it to my roommate Gavin. So I type in Gavin and it'll pop up there. That's weird, it says Gmail, but it'll pop up. I can send it that directly to. UPB meetings, it pulled the subject from my Zoom, like the Zoom invitation I was making. The location is already the Zoom link. It already has the time set for you. The only thing you'll have to remember to do now is just come up here, up on this top toolbar where it says recurrence. You're going to click on recurrence because this is now how I'm going to set my recurring meeting. So let's say I want it to be every other Thursday. So not every Thursday, but like every other Thursday. Instead of every 1 week, I'm going to delete that and I'm going to say every 2 weeks. So now it'll be every other Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. And then start date obviously is when you want it to start, and then end date, it sets it way far in the future. So like 6 months in the future, but you can just click on this little calendar and go backwards and tell it to stop in December. And then you would just push OK. And then you know it worked when it says recurrence occurs every 2 weeks on Thursday, effective this date to this date, from this time to this time. That's what it'll be. And then in order for this to send, obviously you're just going to push the send button up here, and then it'll go to all of the people, their like calendars who you invited, and then they can accept it from there. And obviously it's going to have the link, it's going to have the password, all the different options for people to call in if they need that. Everything they're going to need to join the meeting will be in here. And the recurrence just means that once I add it to the calendar, every time it pops up on their calendar, it'll be the same link. And that's how it sets it as a recurring meeting, instead of you having to get a new link every time. Okay, I think that was everything I wanted to go through. Sorry, this is a little wordy, but I hope it was helpful. If you guys have any additional questions, just let me know. And like I said, I can make more videos, or we could talk about it at a one-on-one, whatever you want to do. I am here to help you all. I hope you guys have a great night. Bye.